I don't need a box for my lunch.
Anyone you've ever known is dead.
The world needed a hero. It got Black Adam. What a self-own. Why does a Black Adam movie exist? It's not the same reason why an Iron Man, Thor, or Captain America movie exists. You see, I was reading The Reign of Marvel Studios, as you do when you're commuting, and there's just something so awesome about nerds who went into show business trying to make movies, and they risked it all to make movies about unwanted characters for no reason, but because they wanted to. They took a loan from the bank because studios and Ike Perlmutter wasn't willing to put money into it, but these low-level dudes who had a dream pioneered the shared cinematic universe because no one else was gonna do it. In fact, it was the mechanism which allowed these fans to show the world why these unloved characters are worth loving. Black Adam is the creative opposite in almost every way. It's about one man taking a character no one cares about, and instead of spending millions to showcase why he's awesome, it was about spending millions to showcase why he's so awesome.
Now what you're gonna see here is why the hierarchy of power in the DC universe is about to change.
But there was a vacuum at the time, and a lot of people were trying to be as
diplomatic as possible. There were other people that had a take on what they wanted to do with it.
They wanted to take on what they wanted to do with DC and were trying to force their way, and it just was never a part of the equation for David Zaslav.
So I've given myself a challenge. Can I extrapolate something meaningful from Black Adam? The movie which single-handedly made The Rock retreat back to wrestling and killed the DCEU for good.
Something changing your mind.
Please don't.
In 2600 BC, a father accepts his fate as a slave under a king who has no problem killing his own subjects, even if they do what they're told. However, his son is different. He's idealistic, he's heroic, and believes their people needed a hero. Therefore, because of his heart, he was rewarded by the wizard Shazam, and in retaliation, the king attacked the champion's parents, wounding the father, so his son transferred his powers to save him. But in that sweet second of vulnerability, he was killed, and that led to his father, a man who previously accepted little in life, to kill everyone. The king, everyone in his palace, and even the wizard's family when they tried to stop him. The legacy of Kahndaq's great protector is not Black Adam, but his sons. He's instead just a man looking for peace. The plot of Black Adam is that fictional Middle Eastern country Kahndaq has been taken over by the crime organization Intergang, who are pillaging their resources.
Strip mine our sacred lands, pollute our water, oppress our heritage, and make us wait in lines all day.
But thankfully, archaeologists release our protagonist Teth Adam, Waller sends to Justice Society as a response.
Shove it up your ass, Carter.
It would make more sense if it was the Suicide Squad, but whatever, they needed people to challenge Black Adam's right to look at himself as a hero. If people cheer for him thinking he's his more virtuous son while he's blowing up entire armies, then someone has to say real heroes don't kill.
Heroes don't kill people.
Which doesn't really mean anything in the DCEU because Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman all kill people. It's just that Hawkman doesn't.
I told you, stop killing people!
Which means he's either making up this non-existent rule to keep the non-American down.
Teth Adam can't be Kahndaq's champion because he is not a hero.
Tell that to all the people he just liberated.
Or Hawkman is the most sheltered and naive man alive. The dude literally works for Waller, who's casually shot her and people out of convenience. So you can't take this discussion of morality on any serious level because it really just exists with the same purpose as food packaging. The discussion's real purpose is to push Black Adam into surrendering.
All this power. And the only thing I could do with it is hurt people.
He is a man with powers beloved by a legacy not his own, while he is not even half the hero.
Out of the hope that someday Kahndaq's champion would return. But it's built on a lie, isn't it?
Therefore, to claim his son's position would be fundamentally disrespectful. Which leads to a rather backhanded sounding question I want to ask. Is Black Adam actually suffering from trauma? The dude seems incredibly collected, considerate, and even curious, which all indicates he's not constantly re-experiencing the past from uncontrollable flashes of pain. Black Adam can just calmly explain what happened to his son.
Harut was the true champion of Kahndaq.
On one hand, The Rock is just a shit actor, but if you treat it sincerely, there's something sad about him being a slave that lived in a world where death, injustice, and revenge was so commonplace that when he avenged his son, that was all that was necessary to convince him that the past was finished. He loved his son, and he got a chance to avenge him. It's more than most people get in life. Therefore, apart from his son, there's no such thing as heroes, just big fishes eating the smaller fishes.
We both know no one can stop me.
You're right.
That's the truth of the world he saw growing up, the truth he previously tried to teach his son, and it's the truth he follows now as he murders everyone in his way.
Prove your strength. Destroy your enemy and all he cares about. Make him beg for mercy, but deny it until his final breath. How about I rip your little wings off instead?
I'd like.
If only his son took this truth seriously, he wouldn't be dead, because if he didn't just focus on saving everyone else, including his own father, he wouldn't be left unprotected.
Harut chose to save me, but he couldn't save himself.
By the way, I love how during the flashback when Black Adam talks about his son's various victories against the king, we don't see any of it because it would f***ing take attention away from the Rock.
But after the champion's many victories,
Anyway, the wizard's power to Black Adam is a curse because it reminds him of his son's foolishness, and it reminds him of this truth. Thus, he's in a paradoxical position where his powers gives him confidence as the biggest fish in the pond, but also actively pulling down his self-esteem because he's tasked with carrying on his son's dream.
my son dreamt of a better world. That's why he saved me.
He has to be something he doesn't believe he can rise to.
All this power, and the only thing I could do with it is hurt people.
As a result, his struggle is asking the question, does the world need to be that way? Black Adam becomes friends with a teenage boy, Ammon, who's a massive fan of American superheroes. Who owns their copyright? I have no fucking clue. Lex Luthor, I guess? I mean, I guess he does own their logos. Also, would they make merch for people with such high body counts?
You need to get out of here before dark.
Anyway, as a result, when the kid looks at Adam, he doesn't see danger, but his heroic potential. And that reconnects Adam with the imaginative roadmap that his son once had.
Does this mean you're finally gonna be our hero? You definitely need a catchphrase.
Tell them the men in
Black sent you.
Yes, but not to me. Say it to the bad guys.
In other words, as Black Adam cares for this little boy and follows his guidelines, his own sense of reality begins to change, where perhaps the strong can protect the weak. Perhaps he wasn't chosen by the wizard, but in some way he can live up to the kind of character they were intended for. Or as Dr. Fate literally says,
But fate does not make mistakes. Neither did your son.
the movie's dialogue is pretty bad, I'm not gonna lie. However, Black Adam doesn't change completely, he still kills, which Hawkman and gang are actually grateful for, because they'd all be dead if it wasn't for him showing up to bisect Sabak. In a world where the big fish eats the smaller fish, it's not about making a better world where such ecosystem doesn't exist. Instead, it's about accepting how lucky it is that sometimes the biggest fish like Black Adam is focused on eating those who mess with his side of the pond.
There's no one on this planet that can stop me.
In this case, it's some dude called Ishmael, the descendant of the last king of Kondak and the leader of Intergang.
Told you to make it look real, not to punch me in the face.
A twist that disturbingly reveals the imperialism themes had no other purpose outside of trying to make Black Adam like Black Panther. The movie actually would have been tidier if they didn't feature Intergang at all and kept it local, because it wouldn't mislead you into thinking it had something insightful to say about what the West did to the Middle East.
Kondak used to be something much better than free. It used to be great.
Also, Ishmael doesn't really have any scenes with Black Adam, so there's no philosophical debate regarding one person's nostalgia and the other person suffering from its reality, or the fact that one man is looking to be like his father and the other is looking to be like his son.
When Harut died, you wept like a baby.
Instead, the whole conflict boils down to how men who want power like Ishmael is perhaps from Kondak, but he will never be there for his people. He's only there for himself.
I thank you. And I thank your friends for returning the crown to its rightful owner.
But the irony is that Black Adam, who never wanted power and lived as low as a slave, he's actually in touch with the country.
Not your country, not your decision to make.
So in the end, when he's placed in the position of being the one who can sit on the throne, he destroys it. He's not a hero, because he's not gonna stop killing people, and he's no king, but he will be the country's protector.
What it needs now is a protector.
Kondak, for the very first time, will never have to be afraid. Anyway, this meant The Rock was actually secretly a poet when he was talking about the whole DC's hierarchy of power was gonna change. He was talking about revolution, right? Yeah, whatever.
It's his darkness that lets him do what heroes like you cannot.
So when you step back, what you end up getting is a movie with a lot of politically charged imagery and story beats, but the politics lacks any deeper intention.
What kind of champion of Kandak sides with foreign invaders?
The imperialists stealing Eternium is just basically dropped immediately. What they should have done is have Waller send in the Suicide Squad to secure it for America during Black Adam's rampage, or alternatively, have America in cahoots with Intergang to steal Eternium.
Your government sent you here to cover up their part in it.
Black Adam and the Suicide Squad could maybe bond over the idea of finding redemption in a life of violence. You know, it kind of writes itself. If it really had to be the Justice Society for whatever reasons, then they should have made them turn on Waller after realizing this wasn't really about stopping a dangerous new metahuman, but taking dibs over the country's belongings. I'm not a writer, so I don't like being that guy who can say, I could do this better, but the pieces were like right there. You just have to make sure the puzzle pieces fit together correctly to create a coherent picture.
Superman, Batman, Aquaman, you're way more stacked than any of them.
Furthermore, the way Waller is presented as the Nick Fury of the DC universe unintentionally engulfs the entire story with a bleak feeling. The world has and always will be run by bad people. Back in 2600 BC, kings got away with killing their slaves. In present day, monsters like Waller, who's gotten away with both covering her and America's war crimes, is in charge of seemingly all the superheroes.
Send them all.
In the DCEU, there's seemingly no all-around good superheroes that operate independently. They instead all act out of the interest of a government, which is prominently characterized as being bad in this universe.
They warn me about you.
The root cause of all of these uninspiring choices comes back to one thing: the Rock. Everything in the story has been compromised in order to perpetuate the Rock's brand. His image as the people's champion, and his image as the strongest and baddest dude all around. The location of the Middle East, its imagery, its people, the featuring of imperialism, it's all ultimately just decoration, an aesthetic, which makes me think, well, they could have just not set the movie in Kondak to avoid all of these associated baggages, because now the movie ends up being about wrestling with all of these presentational symbols and performing a series of gymnastics to say nothing at all. But then there's the return of Black Adam animated shorts. His return to modern day here is in Fawcett City, and in 25 minutes they were able to fully extrapolate the full scariness of his barbarism.
When you crush an ant beneath your foot, do you feel remorse? No. Is this because you are evil, or because you recognize yourself as a higher form of life? This is what the wizard could not understand. If I have the powers of the gods, then am I not a god myself? Should I not be treated as such?
Well, it's not about making the character look good, but making him feel real. If The Rock wasn't so anal about always looking cool, this movie could have been an interesting villain character study. But as a superhero movie that pretends to be about an anti-hero set in a world where everybody already is one, the central message about how the world doesn't need another white knight, it needs one who's willing to kill, doesn't make any sense. If Black Adam was set in either James Gunn's universe or even the goddamn Nolan trilogy, it would have actually made sense. But the Snyderverse? What? However, you could argue this Black Adam movie is actually in keeping with BVS's theme.
I'm not saying he shouldn't act. I'm saying he shouldn't act unilaterally.
That line was one of the coolest, but BVS never expanded upon it because the script went ahead and blew up Congress before it could even be debated. However, Black Adam on a purely thematic level, where narrative patterns is all that matters, is actually really interesting in sequence with that speech, because you can think of it as a deconstruction of a deconstruction. Here is someone with power that wasn't born with a clear greater purpose, like Superman. He's not canonically American, despite The Rock's accent.
About as American as it gets.
There's no mission to lead humanity into the sun or some shit. Black Adam was a slave that couldn't dream for more than what society had intended, who saw the light as a beautiful lie, and would go on to act unilaterally on an international political level. Therefore, more than Superman or Batman, Black Adam represents the whole.
Men with power obey neither policy nor principle, Miss Lane. No one is different. No one is neutral.
Better than anyone else, and upon Black Adam's decision to be better than the world he was born into, I guess Batman was right.
Man is still good. We fight, we betray one another.
Put the bag down.
What are you doing?
Back away.
But we can rebuild. We can do better. We will. We have to.
The fact that Black Adam was not chosen by the wizard for the gift of these powers, for better or worse, actually makes him the ultimate piece of living evidence of what Jor-El believed in.
Embodied within that hope is the fundamental belief in the potential of every person to be a force for good.
And the most important element of any society.
The element of choice. your chance.
He was a slave who never expected more, is given power by accident, then freedom. It can't get any more random than that. And the key thread that motivated him was the desire to honor a small child's dream of a better world, even in the face of having nothing. The tragic side of this interpretation is that it spotlights just how much DCEU Superman utterly failed in leading humanity to the sun. Instead, he just became a Mr. America can send to a target. In fact, in his last appearance in Black Adam, Waller sends him to punch Black Adam.
I can call in a favor and send people who aren't from this planet.
Superman, despite being presented as a godlike savior in this universe, is a wildly unimaginative person who just became part of the system. But it wasn't always like that for him. Clark, just like Black Adam's son, once wanted to do more. And just like Black Adam's son, he was discouraged by his father. Except for Clark, he actually listened, and for the rest of his life, he never dared to make an opinion for himself.
How come Dad never left Kansas?
All he could do was listen. Listen to this person, listen to that person. So now that he's looking to talk to Black Adam, this revolutionary figure,
We should talk.
perhaps this is the moment where the circle can close. The son wants to speak for the first time, and Black Adam, as someone who is a father figure himself, will actually listen. I'd like to say if they made a Black Adam sequel, we'd explore all of this, but let's be honest, it would just be The Rock beating the shit out of Superman for 2 hours and then pretend it was a draw at the end, wouldn't it? So this was the Black Adam video. I had this video in my documents for ages because I made a version for Patreon years ago, but I ended up actually not using anything I wrote from before for this video, and the idea for this video was to start with a psychological study and then let it evolve into whatever seemed the most fun and interesting to write about. In this case, I guess it was poo-pooing The Rock and talk about the superhero genre as a whole. Anyway, this video is also a bit of an experiment because I need a video between Peacemaker and Gotham. I thought it would be kind of interesting to see if I do a DCEU video and if people like it or not. And if people do, then I guess I'll do other DCEU movies and do sort of similar videos, I guess. We'll see. Anyway, my video is getting hit by copyright claims now, so that's why I'm trying out this big ugly ass white border. So yeah, excuse it. And anyway, special thanks to everyone on Patreon. I love you all. Have a week. Beneath the story of Black Adam is the story of a big dumb jock who saw the attention the nerds were getting and trying to get into it.